Now, in this starting position, there's a couple things I want you to notice. The first thing is the knee placement relative to my forearms. I'm going to be lining up the front of my kneecaps with my forearms. What this is going to do is pretty much establish the correct hip position for myself in that starting position. Okay? So if you notice from the side, my hips are going to be above my knees but below my shoulders. So it establishes somewhat of a triangle position right here. Okay? I'm actively working on keeping my lower back nice and straight, and I'm pulling with my arms back against my shins. So there's tension established with my arms right up against my legs. From here, with my weight distributed equally across my feet, the first thing I'm going to do is just push my knees back slightly and let my hips and shoulders rise up at the same time, okay? Right up until the bar meets my kneecaps, okay? At this point, all I'm going to do is just start to push my hips forward, pull my chest up, and just fully extend to that lockout position, okay? From here, my back is nice and straight. I'm standing tall. My knees, hips are both locked out. I'm in a nice neutral position. All right, so this is the finish point of the lift. Now I'm going to bring the barbell back down to the ground. So the first thing that happens, same thing in reverse order as on the way up. The first thing I'm going to do is push my hips back, dragging the bar along my legs. So I'm kind of folding at the hips. Once the bar hits my kneecaps, at this point, my back angle should be set. Okay, so this is the angle that I want to maintain as I bend at the knee and bring my hips and shoulders down at the same time until I'm back in that first starting position. So once again, you'll notice that my kneecaps are in line with my forearms, my hips are above my knees and below my shoulders, okay? A couple key points of performance. The whole time, ideally, you want your weight distributed equally across your entire foot, meaning that you're just standing nice and flat, you're not too far back, you're not too far forward either where your heels are lifting up off the ground. My feet are flat, but ideally, I'd want you to shift back more so than I'd have you shift forward. And the reason being is that we want our hamstrings to really activate and be engaged throughout the pull, okay? I'm also going to achieve that by really actively pulling my arms down. So I said that at the beginning of the description. You should be holding that barbell tight up against your legs the entire time as you pull up off the ground. Otherwise, there's a big tendency as when people pull the barbell and it gets heavy, you kind of let that bar swing away from you, and so the weight gets shifted forward. So keeping that barbell tight up against your legs, dragging it up the entire time on that pull on the way up and on the way down is going to ensure that the proper muscles fire and we're correctly engaging our hamstrings, our glutes, and protecting that back at the same time. Okay, so a couple things here. This is a pretty good starting position. I'm actually going to have you lower the barbell maybe like 2 inches just because that's probably where the bar is going to be closer to sitting when you have plates on either side. Notice how the knees are a little bit forward in front of the elbows, so good. She pushed her knees back, which sets her hips up in a much better position. She's actively pulling back. Her weight is shifted back. Go ahead and pull the bar up. Good. Yep. Now, she's in that finish position, and now come all the way down, initially starting by pushing your hips back, dragging the bar down her thighs, and then once she hits her knees, her back angle's set, so all she's doing is just bending at the knee and finishing, okay? Try one more time, push those knees back first, good. Good, on the way back down. Now bend. All right. Go ahead and set the bar down. Yeah, so the only thing I would say about that lift, on the way up, she does a really great job making sure that her hips and shoulders rise up at the same time, so the sequencing is pretty good. The only criticism I would offer to that lift is she initiates correctly on the way down, so she's locked out, everything looks good, she does a good job of pushing her hips back, and once the bar hits the knees, I would actually probably suggest her to have her hips a little bit higher, because right now she's about here, and so when she bends at her knees and she finishes, her knees end up a little bit far in front of her forearms, so her hips are kind of low, back position. So when she pushes her hips back, I would tell her to make a little bit more of an effort to really kind of bend forward and get that correct angle established so that when she bends her legs, she's right where she started with those kneecaps in line with her forearms.